a quorum. All righty. We're recording. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6:30, right on time. So our first item of business, so in my calling the meeting to order, I want to welcome Glenn and Rufus to their first board meeting. I'm super excited. The next item is to accept the social services director's resignation letter that was in everyone's package. That was in the Google Drive. And let's see. I will read that letter. Dear members of the Board of Selectmen, please accept this letter as notification of my resignation from the position of Social Services Director and Municipal Agent for the Elderly for the Town of Kent. My last day in this position for the Town of Kent will be Friday, January 14th. I'd be happy to meet with you at your convenience to discuss the transition of my duties to my successor. Sincerely, Leah Polaro. So I will entertain a motion to accept that letter.
So moved.
And I will second that letter. That motion, sorry. All those in, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Please signify by either saying aye or raising your hand. Thank you. The next item is form and charge Social Services Director Hiring Subcommittee, which I will make in the form of a motion to create a Social Services Director Hiring Subcommittee, which shall include Catherine Backrack, Ruth Epstein, Selectman Rufus Duram, and current Social Services Director Leah Polaro.
I declined being on that committee.
Okay. So I will take Leah out of the motion and have so we'll form the Social Services Director Hiring Subcommittee, which will include Catherine Backrack and Ruth Epstein and Rufus Duram, and will be charged with identifying and interviewing candidates for the Social Services Director position to recommend a hire to the Board of Selectmen. Sorry, Joyce, that was a little lengthy. I was trying to get it all into one motion. Did you get that?
I believe so.
Okay. And looking for a second so we can get into discussion.
Second.
Thanks, Glenn. So I had reached out last week to Ruth Epstein as the Kent Community Fund board chair and asked if they would get back to me with a couple of names, because I think they're obviously, critical partners here. And Ruth got back to me and said that she and Catherine Backrack would like to sit on that committee to represent the community fund. Rufus or Glenn, any questions? So the time frame is pretty quick. We're hoping to have someone in place by the first week in January so that they have some transition time with Leah. So it's a quick turnaround time, but we will get the job posting up probably in the next 1 to 2 days.
And I
So
just asked,
yeah.
may I ask, Jean, do you have a job description ready to go?
We do. And so part of this discussion would be to just briefly go over that job description, which I think, Joyce, you sent that out in the packages, right?
I did.
It's on the Google Drive.
Correct.
Okay. Would everyone like to see that? Glenn, Rufus, or have you reviewed it?
I have reviewed it.
So have I.
Okay, so there's just a couple of clerical fixes that I would like to make to the job description. There's some acronyms that I think should be spelled out. So the larger from Donna Hayes, this is not part of the agenda. So the job description was included in the packets. So in forming this committee, I think the committee needs direction from the board in their charge. So that's sort of what I'm looking to discuss.
Are
with this
we,
agenda item.
are we going to go with what is been approved as of 2015, or are we going to dissect this and make changes? I mean, we had talked informally the other day about making this a full-time position.
And I think in order to charge this committee and send them on their way properly, we need to have that discussion tonight.
I mean, I am in favor of it, but you know, the question is then if we go to that without having spoken with Board of Finance or anything else, you're sort of left hanging.
So I had a conversation with the treasurer, and based on the current salary, moving that position up to either a 35-hour a week or a 40-hour a week full-time would be, so the salary would be around, at 35 hours, it would be around 58,000, 40 hours would be 65,000 plus fringe, plus the benefit package, which would be, we would assume the family package, because that's the most expensive, which would be around 37,000. And Barbara's confident that there will be surpluses in other budget lines that will be available for budget transfers should the new hire need the fringe.
Is did Barbara use the base rate that's currently in place for that position?
Yeah,
And coming
based
up with
on
that
the salary.
calculation?
Yep, based on the 27-hour a week and the salary.
It's below the industry standard. And that should be really looked at, because I've been there for 9 years, and all I got was the across the board increase each year. And the standard has gone up, in entry level especially. So it would do the committee good, or the selectmen good, to look at what the current going base rate is for a social worker in that position, because New Milford would be a good place to contact them and find out. There's 3, and I think pretty soon more, social workers that are employed by that office. Granted, it's a bigger community, but it's not about hours, it's about base rate.
Catherine, you had your hand up. You're on mute. There you go.
It seems like that there are a number of issues to be resolved, probably by the committee initially, and then in cooperation with the selectmen before the position can be advertised. Because if we don't know whether it's a part-time or a full-time position, that certainly impacts on how it's advertised. So I would recommend the committee meet as soon as possible.
So the charge of the committee would be in the motion would be to identify, go through applications that we receive and identify a candidate or candidates to interview and then recommend back to the board. I think the Board of Selectmen would probably need to have another, in order to do this, and since it's not officially on the agenda tonight, we would need to go to another special meeting, which etches away at the timeline. But I understand that it's, we're sort of flexing this agenda item a little bit as far as, from an Robert's rules and an FOI standpoint. So we probably should do some more homework and have another meeting. Next week is going to be tough, but if we can make it in a week, next Tuesday night, if that's possible, so that we can have a fuller conversation about this and make a decision so that we can get this committee charged out.
So my question is, what is the homework that needs to be done? And who is going to do that homework?
So as Leah was saying, the industry standard hourly rate is not, she's saying that it's higher than that. So we would need to go out and do some homework, look at other towns. The COG has a salary survey that they put out every year. So we could use that as a benchmark. So that's really that and part-time versus full-time. And then Barbara and I can also flesh out what exactly this number is going to look like for the board to make the decision.
We can't meet sooner than Tuesday.
FOI requires a 48-hour notice for a Zoom meeting, so it would need to be at least 48 hours away. We could do
Glenn is probably pretty busy this week. I don't know.
Just for the next 2 nights, from the 19th on, I'm pretty good.
Okay.
Joyce, do you know if Streetscape has put an agenda for their Friday? They were having they had a placeholder for a 5:30 meeting
Correct.
for the 19th.
Mike plans on having the meeting. I'm just waiting to do that agenda.
Okay.
I have problems on the 19th.
Okay. How about Monday, the 22nd, which would also give me a couple more days to get some better information back.
Monday's the 22nd, not the 26th.
I'm sorry, 22nd. Thank you. It's looking right at that number.
That's good for me.
Can we do it in the afternoon?
Yes.
That works.
I have a 6 o'clock meeting that night.
Okay.
So if we wanted to do it, I'm free pretty much any time in the afternoon.
What works for you, Glenn?
Anytime that works for you all, I'm open.
Okay, could we do a 3 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll get that out. Tomorrow, so that we can have a better, more full conversation. So I'm going to rescind my motion. Joyce? Next item is the 2022 regular BOS meeting schedule. Joyce sent out a 2022 schedule with the current Tuesday night dates. But I think in order to, there's a lot of projects, a lot of issues, a lot of things that we as a board need to get a handle on and really move through and be productive. I think it makes sense to move to a 2 times a month meeting. And what I'd like to do is have it on the same day so that the public isn't chasing after, oh, it's the first one of the month, so it's which day. So do the first, so Thursdays seem, other than P and Z, Thursdays seem pretty open and available. So what I'd like to do is on the first Thursday of the month, do an afternoon meeting. And on the third Thursday, do an evening meeting. So on the first Thursdays, do say a 4 o'clock, and the third do a 6:30. And if anybody needs, I mean, we can walk through what that calendar is going to look like for the year. So it would be January 6th and 20th, February 3rd and 17th, March 3rd and 17th, April 7 and 21, May 5th and 19th, June 2nd and 16th, July 7 and 21, August 4 and 18, September 1 and 15, October 6 and 20, November 3 and 17, and December 1 and 15. So we're steering clear of the, all the federal holidays, etc.
What are we doing in December of this year?
So that's the next agenda item.
There is a regular meeting already set that was approved last year.
So my thought was to finish out the year with the regularly scheduled meeting, unless the board feels that we need to have 2 that month, and we can call a special meeting for another date besides that 14th. But since it's already on the books,
That's fine with me. I just have a work obligation that night, but I will move that. So for the sake of simplicity, that 14th works for me.
okay. So let's get this number 4 agenda item into a motion, which I will make.
Before you make that, can I just ask why we're switching it from Tuesday to Thursday? Just because historically it's always been on Tuesday. And I mean, if you're worried about people not knowing when the meeting is, you changing it to Thursday, I know people will get used to it, but is there just a reason that you're changing it?
Part of it is so that they can be on the same day of the week. Part of it is the prep that's involved for me goes into the weekend. And, the beginning of the week is always much more hectic than the end of the week. And my hope is that having the 3 previous days or 4 previous days of a work week will enable me to create a better rhythm so that I'm more prepared and we can have more efficient meetings. And Thursdays are a light day for other commission and committee meetings other than P&Z, which it wouldn't conflict with.
And from my standpoint, my Tuesdays, I load up on my Tuesdays. I have the most meetings. I'm on dorm duty tonight, as a matter of fact, after this meeting. So So it's just easier for me for the rest of the year. If Thursday is a problem, after this year moving forward, I can maybe move things with my job here, but it's very difficult for me to move all of those things off a Tuesday for a meeting for the Board of Selectmen.
And I think if we do a good job, letting the public know that there's still another, 7 weeks before we get to the new year, to let them know via the newsletter and other means that this is going to be the new schedule for the Board of Selectmen. Hopefully, folks will be able to adjust to that.
So I would make a motion that we meet on the first Thursday at 4 and at the third Thursday at 6:30
Each month.
every month. Right on through.
Okay, I will second that. Thanks for making that motion, Rufus.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Town meeting. Barbara alerted us to the need for a town meeting in order to finish out the audit, because there's a large budget transfer that needs to happen that is above that, causes the trigger of a town meeting. And it's the legal fees that were that came with the cell tower application and the intervenor status that the town took through that process. So that the fees are causing a town meeting to need to happen. When I asked Barbara a good date, she said as soon as possible. So Joyce, those are 7-day, they need 7 days warning.
5 is the legal. I'm
Okay.
not sure if you have to add the additional 2 for Zoom, probably not.
Okay. And then are those town meetings traditionally on a particular night of the week? I know there's been some in the past that were on Friday nights, some on Thursday nights.
Yeah, historically Thursdays and Fridays.
Okay. So we could do let's see, going into December because of where we are right now. Let's see. We could do Friday the 3rd, if that works for the group. And those are traditionally 7 o'clock, Joyce.
Yes.
Is that enough time for, and does this have to be advertised in a newspaper as well?
It used to have to be. I'm not sure if we still have to, based on the governor's orders. And I need to know, are you doing it Zoom? Are you doing it in person?
It's going to be Zoom. And that, I believe that governor's order was
I do too.
was rescinded.
Right.
And it didn't pass in the legislature this year. So does that give you enough time to get it in a newspaper or two?
Yes, I'll have next week, but because I
It's
will,
a short week.
I know, but I'll have to have the agenda ready for the meeting, the special meeting you're going to have on Monday, because you'll have to approve the agenda.
Okay.
So as long as I have the date, time, and the means in which the meeting is being conducted, I'll have
Okay.
the agenda ready.
Okay. That shouldn't be a problem because we'll just get the motion from Barbara. Rufus and Glenn, does that work? Friday the 3rd at 7 p.m.
Yes, works for me.
That's good.
How's that looking? Good for you, Rufus?
Yep.
All right. Joyce, should that be in the form of a motion or can we wait until we're approving the agenda on Monday?
Yes, you can make a motion that that's when we're gonna do it and then approve the agenda at the next meeting.
Okay. I'll make the motion to hold a town meeting for the purpose of budget transfer, end of year budget transfer for the audit on Friday, December 3rd at 7 PM via Zoom. I need a second.
Second,
Great. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Hey, Jean, could you tell us how much the amount is?
I need to get it from Barbara.
I mean, I know
Um,
it's gotta be over $20,000 because
Right.
that's the trigger.
Right. I can, I can get it from Barbara. It'll be in the, it'll be on the agenda, on the motion, on the agenda.
Okay,
But if
thanks.
you would like it tonight, I can ask Barbara and email it to you.
Okay, thanks.
Does that work? Okay. Next meeting date, we're good for December 14th,
yes.
6:30. And Glenn, that can work for you?
Yes, I will make that work. Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. And that's everything.
For clarification, the next meeting is Monday, correct?
I'm sorry, yes, the next regular meeting, which was really what item 6 was. But yes, we'll be having a special meeting on Monday, but the next regular meeting will be December 14th. Thanks for that, Joyce.
Well, when you rescinded for number 3, when you rescinded your motion, we're still, you formed the committee, you're not changing that.
So I rescinded the whole motion. Because in part, Catherine's suggestion that there was more homework that needed to be done. So we can still form the committee, even though, I mean, we're past it in the agenda. I'm trying to be very careful because this is a special meeting and I don't want to get out of bounds with, how we're supposed to conduct the agenda.
No,
So,
I was just, you rescinded the whole motion, so
yes,
there is no committee technically yet.
correct. But we'll make sure that that it's on the agenda for the Monday meeting so that we can close the loop and set them into motion so they can start their work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And with that, at 6:58, I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the conversation and feedback.